Your number one focus is to get in front of a person or have a conversation with them on the phone. You need to get presentations somehow, some way, whether it's door knock, calls, live transfers. As long as you're talking to a body about life insurance, you got a shot. But if you're busy training, watching something, you don't have a shot.
So welcome to the Elite Sales Podcast. Thanks for joining us. I'm joined in studio by Misha Elias.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
And we're John Bacaron with FFL Elite Syndicate.
How's it going?
And we got Yoel behind the scenes managing running the show. And then we'll have Trisha Brown, coming on and sharing with us a little bit. But before we get started, I actually just wanted to invite everybody, if you guys are interested in growing, we're approaching the end of the year and we have 2023 right around the corner. So if you guys are happy with what you guys did this year, it's time to take that and level up, get to another level. If you guys are not satisfied with what you guys did this year, it's take a little bit of time for reflection in terms of what you could have done differently, what you could have done more of, what direction you could have taken instead, what you could have put a little bit more effort into, what you could invest into a little bit more wisely. All that stuff. But, we are really planning we've hit a certain level. And the thing is, we're not growing at the rate in which we should all be, right?
Right.
So the thing is, we've been having these meetings on Thursdays, 10 p.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific, sorry, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I guess 12 p.m. Central, do the math.
Yeah.
But anyone that wants to grow is invited. So, it's supposed to be a leadership meeting, but, it's not really so much about like, I have this on my roster, I have these people, because you can have people on your team and if you're not really doing anything and leading them, I don't know, you're not really managing or leading anything, right?
Right.
And then you could have a few or not that many yet, or maybe not even yet, but, you're planning to become, you're building a team and you want to be able to be in a position to lead others. I mean, this is the opportunity for everyone to participate. So every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are interested, we'll be sharing that on the group chat. So, welcome everyone to hop on that wants to really take their business to another level. And we had a really good talk this morning. Had a Trisha on. We had Casey and Jason and Angel popped on for a minute. We had both these gentlemen here. Joanne came on. Missing anybody?
John.
Reynoso. Oh, yeah, Jonathan Reynoso, of course. Yeah. So
Terrence, of course.
Terrence, yeah. So we got a chance to just exchange some ideas and just talk about where it is that we feel like we can improve on and what areas that we need to specifically address. So I mean, I think there was a lot of good that came out of it, because a lot of the things that we go through in this business we don't get a chance to express all the time.
Yeah.
What did you get the most out of?
What I liked the best about the meeting today was the idea of becoming a uniform team.
Yep.
So that way there is not too many, heads out there coming out with different ideas. And then at the end of the day, I mean, there's a lot of confusion. We still find a lot of agents still wondering how they want to do things. But with the conversation that we had this morning, creating a pattern where all of us can follow, especially us that we have hired people. So all of us are on the same page, right? When all of us are in the exact same direction, believe me, the result is going to be a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And just the thought of it, the vision of it is kind of exciting, because 2023 can be a very profitable year if all of us, stick to the plan. So that's what I like about it, that we are coming together to create that path.
Yeah. Great. Any thoughts from the meeting?
Yeah, it was a good meeting. For you guys that haven't been on any of the management call, it's a step up, it's a level up of like looking into your business, and we got to hear different philosophies of what a business should be and how it should be ran, and we can bounce off ideas. But more importantly, what's happening right now is there is just too many silos happening instead of one cohesive unit, and we're all doing our own little thing, and we're doing too much of the efforts instead of combining our efforts, right?
Right.
So we're our own boss in a sense. That was one of the issues. But you have too many things in your hands are in too many places when we can departmentalize a couple of things and we can use each other to help out. So that was a great lesson for it.
Yeah. And also, before we continue, I mean, if anyone on here has any questions or you guys want specific things to be addressed, you can just go ahead and ask on the chat here, or feel free to chime in at the right moment and you can ask your questions. Also, if you come up with ideas throughout the week and you guys have things that you want us to cover in particular, like a specific type of training or any particular aspect of the business, you can also email Yoel, that's YOEL at eliteffl.com. That's Yoel at eliteffl.com. So we'd love to hear your questions and see if there's anything specifically that we would like that you guys would like to hear a little bit more about.
Right.
But yeah, for me, I mean, it was nice to hear, because I mean, you hear from individuals, but when people collaborate and actually share in a group, and like in the leadership meeting that we had earlier, I think there's a lot of value to it, because you hear some of the perspectives from other people, and sometimes you just think wherever you are in your respective business, sometimes you feel lonely at times, or you feel like you're the only person going through it and you're the only person experiencing that. But in reality, there's a lot of other people going through that same thing, or they have been through that already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think a lot of times, we create these like labyrinths in our own minds, and we think I'm stuck in this certain position, I can't get out of it. Or if you just talk to somebody, you actually just open up about it, you'd find out maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe someone else has already experienced this and they figured out how to get past it. And it never hurts to ask if you do it in a positive, constructive way. If you're looking for someone to complain to and you because misery loves company, you're just like, hey, this sucks, doesn't it? I mean, which plenty of people do, and that's just human nature, unfortunately. But you got to think about the long-term longevity and welfare of your business, and just focus on things that you can control, focus on the things that you can improve on, and it's all doable.
And that was the idea of the meeting this morning, because now you don't have to focus on it alone, right? I mean, the idea is, if you feel frustrated, if you are in a position where you said, I keep on doing certain activity, but the activity that I'm doing is not leading me to the results that I want, rather than, like, Albert just said, I mean, rather than go and complain, say like, man, this is so bad. I mean, I've been doing this, whatever. I mean, just talking in a negative way. Now you can come back to the core team, right?
Yeah.
Let's call it core team. And then now we can actually help each other. And, the ones that we have less experience, go with the ones that have more experience, and go with design one plan, one game plan, and that's it. You know what I mean? So I have said this analogy before. I mean, what I like about this is now we're not thinking about the quarterback going to the field by himself, nor the receiver going there by himself, right? The whole team is going to be there together. So all of us can try to score, right? So there is no more Lone Ranger type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's something that Albert and I talked about, a few days ago, is that what the idea is to stop wondering and the how am I going to do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And get rid of the idea of this is your business, do whatever you want. Because in reality, you go out there and you go, well, I want to have a successful business, but I still don't know how. You know what I mean? So it's too much of a guessing game. So rather than doing that, I mean, coming together, we can still design the path and get the right answers, rather than,
Be stuck.
Exactly, be stuck or get misguided, by the perception of other people that, we think that they are doing great. But we don't know that they are also struggling, right? Because we're not really communicating properly. So, that's the idea, just to continue, or making sure that the quarterback doesn't go to the field by himself. In this case, you will be the quarterback, right? Because you're so you gotta, so you can beat up a lot often. Actually, no, I was told that the quarterback is the one that gets beat the less, right?
Yeah, they protect him now.
Supposed to, but yeah. But yeah, if everyone in this business, and I can guarantee that everyone will have some frustrations in this business, wherever, what level you're at, right? So what happens is, if you're alone, what Albert was saying is, you're in your own mental labyrinth. You cannot figure it out. But what these calls are supposed to do, and what Trisha was bringing up too, is like, we got to get more agents, get more people involved within the fire, go on the dials, go on the Zooms, go on these calls, because what you're doing is now you're in the same people who's trying to figure it out with you. We're brainstorming ideas together, right? So now you're just not stuck in your own little head and thinking about, okay, how do I get out? How do I get out? Okay, well, here's an idea. Here's some ideas. Here's some ideas out of the box or within our system. At least we're having conversations about it. So that's the collaboration effort we're trying to bring back.
And something that is going to help us to accomplish what we want is for the people out there that have, their own Zoom meetings, their own trainings and stuff like that, is to probably put them on pause, on hold for a little bit, and then have them come over to this one, right? So now, like Albert was saying this morning, on Thursdays, we're going to start doing like trainings on certain topics rather than just probably, asking one guy, what is that you're doing? Well, now this is what we are going to be doing. Right. So all of us are on the same page. And that way, for us that, have our own teams, we don't have to worry and, okay, I got to create my own Zoom. I got to create my own training. Nothing. We can just go all of us to the exact same place.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's quite a few different live dials and trainings going throughout the week, which I respect it. I understand why some people want to do it, but the thing is, if we all just kept everything on one, we'd have more people sharing their information. We have more people collaborating. And the thing is, if everyone does a little bit, no one has to do a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's just less work for everybody, and we'll get a chance to share different perspectives. And I think that's a big part of it. I was actually on the live dials. I hopped on the live dials. I had an appointment. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it on there. I did a remote presentation. So it was actually really fun. You guys got a chance to hear me, right?
Yeah.
Was there feedback that, you guys have feedback? Was it there are areas I needed to work on? Cause I'm a bit rusty.
So
I felt comfortable, but I'm for sure I'm not at my peak, but what do I have to lose?
Right. So let's give you the scenario of what happened. So we had a 67-year-old Filipino Lolo dude, Filipino guy. He had a final expense. He's trying to get a term, right? And so Albert tried his best, and just like any agent, right? We have all these carriers. He's looking to find a better rating for him to save him some money. But at the end of the day, the dude was uninsurable to try to get a term.
Yeah, I ran through a couple options and actually got declined on the MIB. And then, tried a couple different options, but it wouldn't really put him in a better position. I could have got it for maybe around the same premium. But the thing is, I also, I gave him the best advice that I could as an agent. Yeah. Looking out for his best interest, because he's had that policy already. I'm like, if we get you another policy, it just resets your 2-year contestability period. And I'm like, I don't want to jeopardize that in case something happens, especially if you've been declined for something before. I'm like, I'm not trying to reset that. So, but the thing about, I found that interesting was I knew that people were watching me, and I was kind of if I mess up, I mess up. Who cares? But I just want there to be more activity on there. The sad part about it was, I'm like, a lot of people ask me questions about, hey, how would you do this? How do you quote this? How do you pull this up? How do you know which product to show? How's your in-home like? If we had more people on there, then more people could have just been sitting there and be like, oh, I'm gonna get a chance to watch a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then if that's what gets some people to get going, as far as feeling a little bit more comfortable and unmuting themselves, turning on their cameras, hopping on regularly. If activity just picks up amongst everyone within this group, there'd be more business written, more families would be protected. You guys would be making more commissions. Our team volume would go up. It's just a win-win situation.
Yeah.
So, and then not only that, another thing that I liked that when you were doing the call is that, based on your experience, you were trying to find a place where to put the guy in, right? A policy. It didn't happen. But at the end of the call, I was thinking, you know what? It would have been so nice if more people would have seen this. So that way they can see that all of us go through this exact same thing, right? So it's not like I have a 90% close ratio, because that doesn't exist. But all of us have to go through all the no's, the learning curve. You said earlier, well, if I messed up, if you messed up, that was great, because then all of us could have learned. Yeah. Now, being in the call, all of us can learn from each other. So it was really good because, like I said, now you can see that it happens to everybody. Right? You're not going to close everybody. Not everybody's insured. Yeah. So that was really good.
Yeah, I think that's the key takeaway for me. I think. Look, I have the benefit of having experience, so it's not really. I don't have the same mindset that I once had. Which some of you guys, if you guys are new, or if you guys happen to be going through it a little bit recently, you got to get past that hump. And for me, like I went through the entire presentation. I didn't sell it obviously at the end, but for me, I felt like I did my presentation thoroughly. I asked him everything that I needed to do. I went through the different options, and I made a judgment call on my own to not replace what he currently had because it's to his benefit.
Yeah.
So the thing is, even though I didn't sell it, I mean, I don't look at it as a negative. I think I can live with my results because I went through the entire process. I did everything I was supposed to do, and then it just didn't work out on that one. So right. I think that's what we all need to just kind of focus on. Just learn to love what you're doing. Learn to love the things that are going to yield you results. You not presenting is never going to get you any results.
Yeah.
You not doing enough dials and having appointments and doing presentations, it will never get you any results that you want.
And based on that, I mean, you also think about the fact that you're actually working with the client's best interest. See, you're not going there with a commission bread. Yeah. You're not going over there and say like, hey, I gotta get paid, and then you can put somebody in a bad position. I mean, yeah, you're right. You made your own call, but the call you made was good because you didn't risk the guy's, liability per se.
No.
So no, I think that was a good call. I really liked it.
Yeah, and I wasn't nervous, but I was kind of like, oh man, there's people watching. So it did make me step up my game a little bit. And I'm like, if I mess up, it's not the end of the world. Who cares?
But I want to address that. So maybe the lack of our participation is, fear, right? You might have a fear of being exposed, fear of, being rejected in front of public, and more importantly, a fear of accountability, right? Because when you go in, you're supposed to be working, right? So if you're alone, right, if you're in your field or you're out there, no one's watching. And what we want to create is we want to make that fun, that to understand that you're not alone working. You're not alone getting rejected. You're not alone, missing some sales. But if we can make this fun, there's some feedback for you. This is there to improve you, right? So I would say make the determination to just start showing up, get in there, slowly. If you feel like it, or your fear of like showing your face, yeah, you can on video, right? At least you showed up. But next part, let's put on the video. So now we at least see a face-to-face. There's somebody there. We know, even though I'm getting rejected, someone else is on the other line getting rejected.
Right.
If one made a sale, okay, let me get my sale. All right. Let's put the work in.
Right? Yeah, it creates the motion. It creates the motion of being productive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a huge benefit of, people combining their calls rather than everyone creating their own silos and doing their own separate ones, because there's just a little bit more energy with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's less work for you guys at the end of the day if you guys just all sharing those resources. And all that being said, the thing is, yeah, I'm going to be getting on a little bit more often. I'm start setting aside a few days to run appointments myself, because we're at a position where we should be growing at a certain rate. And I just feel like, for me, I need to go back and reevaluate. If we're not growing at the rate that I'm happy with, like I can't blame anybody else. All I can control is myself. So if I got to look at what can I specifically do. If I hire people and I start working with them, I don't control if they're going to continue to buy leads on a regular basis. I can't control their work ethic. I can't control if they're willing to dial and continue to sit there and continue to grow. What I can control is me.
Yep.
So that's the thing I'm looking back at. I'm like, this is me. And Trisha was on. I was on a call with her yesterday, and this is why we're having her on. We did a lot of reflecting. We started looking at the areas in which we're like, a lot of times we're positive people and we're optimistic. So a lot of times when we're going through struggles, we just think, all right, well, I'm just gonna stick with it. And we're gonna figure it out. And then you just kind of keep going with it instead of directly addressing it, making some changes with it. So Trisha, are you on?
Hope we didn't lose you.
There you go.
I'm here.
All right. You might want to turn down the volume a little bit.
I think you might be on your phone as well.
Yeah, or you.
I know. I try to trick the system.
So while she's working on that, for you guys that don't know Trisha is awesome. She's out in St. Louis. She got an office out in Lake St.Louis. She's always been
Can you hear me?
pleasure. Yes, yeah. We can hear you now. But she's always been one of my favorites to work with, because she just it's not that she's perfect and she always she gets 100% closing ratio or anything like that. It's just that she recognizes the business for what it is. She puts in the work. and she always has a good attitude, even when things are tough. Like she just recognizes there's no other way. We just got to work through it. And she's the leading producer for the month of November. She was the top agent,
Congratulations.
so great job to you. But yeah, we had a really good talk yesterday. Tell us about some of the things you're focusing on.
Are you on your phone?
Yeah, you might want to get off your phone now.
So I wanted to use my
gotta-
desktop,
you gotta-
but use my
you gotta-
microphone.
you
It's
gotta
not
pick one.
working. I'm on two different devices. Hold on.
No, your
pick one or the
desktop
other.
your desktop's microphone is working.
Oh, hold on. I'm just going to get off this one.
Yeah, we can hear you from here.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm always the fickle.
Oh, can't hear you now.
No, she's not talking.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we're good.
But I can't hear you. Hold on.
Oh, turn up your speaker. Wait, she can't hear us.
Oh, you
Now we can't hear you.
I can't hear.
So as we're working through these technical difficulties, yeah,
That's why she had that on.
Just do all phone.
you might have to select the device. If you go to the bottom left corner,
She can't hear us though.
can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
I would just do a phone.
She can't hear you.
I mean, maybe she can. I don't know.
I would probably type it.
How about you go outside? Like, give us a call.
It's her audio. So what's happening is she probably has it on the computer audio, or she doesn't have a speaker attached to it.
Oh, there's
She
a
got-
cat. The problem is a cat.
Cat bit the wires. Okay, you might have to go back to your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, she listens. See,
Sorry about that, guys. We're gonna get to it. I promise.
The problem was a cat.
Misha's a big dog guy.
Yeah.
Do you not like cats?
No, I do.
I
I,
don't like
I do.
cats.
I like to throw them to my dogs.
While
is that
we're waiting
better?
for Trisha to hop on. Also, when we asked earlier if you guys have any questions to come on and share or to put in the chat.
Is that
This
better?
is something that Misha and I talked about the other day. Hey, Trish. Let me
Okay,
finish up
thank
this
you.
point, then we'll have you on. But we also talked about the availability of training. So we differed a little bit on Monday when we had our conversation. He just says, "Hey, you know what we need? We need more training." And then for me, I'm like, I don't think that's it.
Yeah.
And because and I say that I think training is always great. I think training is important, but I also think like we get stuck in this mindset of if I only knew this, then I can actually go out there and work. If I only knew this, and I go out there and work.
Mhm.
But in reality, like how complex is what we do. Not saying it's easy because it's
I
hard
agree.
work. But as far as what we need, if you stick with Americo, Prosperity, and AIG, learn those three carriers. Mercy was on our live dials earlier, so she asked about that. I was able to share with her.
Yeah.
And just be like, just keep it as simple as possible. Learn those three carriers first, and then get familiar with some of those products in the e-app, and then ask questions when you need. And as far as the leads, you just got to buy some leads. I mean, not saying specifically which ones because you got to try out different ones. There's different lead vendors, so try those out. Make sure that you just are spending some time dialing them, improving your skill set on that, learning your phone skills, and then you're going to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Let them know you filled it out. I'm coming over, or do you have a couple minutes? I'll go over with you right now.
Yeah, let me just add to that. So we don't need more training. We need more showing. So what agents are looking for, they want to see what's being happen. So that's what they quote unquote think they need the training on. So I think the live dials will fix that.
Yep.
If we show more of us how to sell, how to talk, they will see that and just repetitively see it that it's not that hard. As long as they start dialing, they make the appointment, they do the same process of AIG, America Prosperity. It gets easier in their head. Then they start doing. So as long
Well,
as we
I
show-
think that just to clarify that, because you just said that we don't need training, we actually don't need a training like per se that we've got to be here training like crazy until we actually get it.
Yeah.
But if we actually have the trainings,
Yeah.
or sometimes like you said on the calls on Thursdays, those make sense. You see,
Gotcha.
because at that particular point, and like we talked about this morning, all of us are going to be coming to the exact same hub. So now, if you're going to be say, okay, today we're going to be talking about the way AIG works, that's it. It was just happening for that hour, but everybody's there.
Right.
Now nobody's guessing anymore.
Yeah.
That's what is going to help, because at the end of the day, new agents, older agents, I mean, we want to get there and go like, oh man, I forgot that. That's right. And then we continue going. There is no need to, for us to have like 3, 4, 5 trainings during the week, because I gotta be honest with you, that, is gonna backfire. Because then everybody's gonna be in the training, and who's gonna be working? We don't want that. We actually want to have 1 hour training that can allow us to understand what we're doing and then go in the field. The best way to learn is to actually make mistakes.
Right.
Yep.
You see, it's not gonna be in front of a teacher, going, over a program until the guy gets blue in the face, and then we still are afraid to go and do it. No, that doesn't work either. We gotta just do the weekly training, 1 hour. Boom, this is what we're talking about. Couple of things, couple of pointers, and come on, let's go to the phone. Go to the field. We gotta go to work.
Yeah.
We gotta work. But then again, that little training is gonna give us the ability to actually have a much better idea how to perform when we're in the field. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That way you don't have a lot of new agents talking, complaining, oh, my upline doesn't help me out, because the upline is also confused. Like, man, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that is the point.
And you guys should never really be in a position to say, like, my upline's not helping me with this. At the end of the day, we still got to run our own respective business. And I think with the if everyone hops on the live dials and we do this together, aside from the fact that it's going to be more fun, aside from the fact that, you're going to just witness everybody else going through the same things that you are. But yeah, you'll get a chance to see more, like John said. And then also like the training, if there's someone has a specific question, if we're able to address it, we're able to deal with it, or you're watching someone else that just covered exactly what you were thinking, then the thing is that training will come organically through the process anyway. So
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not really so much the training after we have that discussion. It's more like we got to kind of reset the culture a little bit. Just have more people active and more people
Increase
participating.
participation.
So
Yeah.
so I'm right, you're wrong.
You're right. You're right.
No. We came to a happy medium. So
No, you're right.
Trisha, are you on now?
I muted you.
Yes, I am.
All right. Okay.
Man, I agree with Misha and you guys. I remember, with one of the things that I took with me was, and they were so,
The
old school about things,
previous
was
company.
go get 100 leads and go door knock and go get in the door, and it was like the customers, our families really train us. I don't care what anybody says. It's the activity. So it's like, he's absolutely right. Getting caught up in 4 or 5 hours a week of calls and training and this, it won't stick. They need to have a fast start and be motivated and know they have the support if they need it. But then they need to go get leads and go hustle their hind end off for
Right.
12 hours a day. And exactly what you just did. I was in a house in between our call earlier, and I door knocked these folks, and like you said, you're not going to sell all of them. I ended up selling the wife a little bit more, but the husband, it just wasn't the right thing to sell him anymore. He was just in a place that where he was fine. And, you're going to make those decisions, but I didn't know that the first day. And I didn't know it the second month. I might have had 50 scenarios that seasoned me into now where I can look at my poker hand and say, this is the card that I need to play with this person. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we hire these folks and we're like, okay, well, here's all the stuff that you can look up. And we got dial days, we got this, but then we don't we don't really mandate it. Like, you need to do this to get to the next step. But while you're doing it, quit thinking you need your business cards and your pocket pen protector and your Facebook and your brand. And by the way, do 4 Twitters and a massage on Tuesday. Like get a couple things and go work. And then, and here I'm guilty because I don't really do any phone sales. And so I had ruled out dial days because you know what I thought? My honest to goodness, I'm like, they're wasting a day out in the field messing around on the phone, But I've realized, especially because he's almost left the field and did so much on the phone. I'm like, if he can do it, I got to get out of my way. And he's successful. So 2023 is about stop thinking that you're successful when you just started. You need to do it the successful people's way that have already made a success of this and go out and avidly just go run, go do it. Pierce is on here. And if he wasn't, the first thing my call would have been, because he's like a sponge right now, is I'm going to get on dial days. That's my new thing. I'm going to get on dial days because I want to hear what you all are doing. And I want to be a part of that plugin so it will acclimate me to take one day out of the field and start working in my office that I never see and sell over the phone. The same
Trish,
thing for the agents. Mm-hmm.
Real quick. So what you were saying is you don't, from being the top producer in last month, you've never done any dials at all. You just all do door knocks. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Wow.
And then you also mentioned earlier with your previous company, there was no training, right? I mean, they just basically said get leads and go and figure it out.
No, not only did they not train, they absolutely shunned appointments and getting on the phone. So people are always like, how do you go out and door knock? Well, that's all I knew. Like we were told if you made an appointment with folks, they had too long to think about it. And they would, because there's so much insurance being sold, and that they would get with their family, another person would call, they blow you off. So you show up at the door with your product and you have to sell yourself first to get in the door. And then
what you're doing is you've never booked an appointment. You would do a door knock presentation on the spot to sell.
Every day almost. I mean, there's
no.
Cut out, Trish.
If I have to drive 4 hour on a road trip, per se, then I will try my darndest to set myself appointments. Now, it might not be that many, but I'll try to at least make sure they're home. Okay. But if I'm just doing it within an hour, I'll take 12, 15 leads and just go run, and yeah, absolutely. And I show up with my laptop open at the door. My laptop is open literally beside my chest, and I have the lead card blown up. So as soon as they open the door, they can see their handwriting. I no longer am a solicitor. I'm absolutely bona fide. I'm here because you asked me to be here.
So can you walk us through? So
right.
You got my lead. You show up to the door. What do you say?
Mm-hmm. Knock, knock. Hey, Albert.
Yes.
Hey, honey. I'm Trish Brown. I'm actually a local medical underwriter that's been assigned to your application you sent in. And I'll look at it and you'll look down at it and you're going to see your lead and your handwriting. And you might say, well, what is that? Well, go ahead and give me a rebuttal.
I don't remember filling this out.
Oh, well, let me blow it up for you. Surely you remember this. It's your handwriting, Albert. Look right here. It says here, we're a benefit.
Yeah, I guess that's me.
How come you didn't book an appointment or call me?
Yeah, well, you know what? Exactly. I've been trying to reach out to you for about 2 weeks and we haven't got a response on the phone. And because this is priority cash benefit that's paid to your family, dispatch told me to go on out and knock on your door today. So even though it's cold, I decided I'm going to see you today.
Can you come back tomorrow?
I sure cannot. I would love to, but what we have is a new state regulated product and it is in such demand. And as you can see, they had me come out today. I've got 12 families I have to see tomorrow that are all needing this to protect their family. Remember, I told you it's a cash benefit. That just doesn't happen every day. So if you just have about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm going to go over what you qualify for in the program.
Well, I don't have any money right now.
Oh, that's fine, honey. We don't take any money. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of your health. I'm going to ask you, we're going to get to know each other. You might even fall in love with me today. But what I can guarantee you, Albert, it will be a blessing to you.
Do I got to make a decision today?
I still need to talk to my wife about it.
Oh, is she there?
No, she's not. So that's why, I mean, you can give me the information, and then when she gets home, I can.
Oh, I see. So your wife is not there right now. So I'll tell you what, you read my mind, because you know what? Your wife is the boss, Misha. And if she's not there, I don't want to talk to you anyway, because I know she makes all the decisions. Now, will she be back tonight or early morning?
Oh, I like that. That was good. But she's the boss anyway.
This is training right here. Do I got to make a decision today, Trish?
You know, you don't have to make a decision today. You don't have to at all. But after you hear what I got to say, you're going to want to make a decision today, honey.
Oh, you had me a honey.
I'm going to tell you why.
Let's go.
That's a Southern close right there.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why I'm here. Okay. Besides what I just told you, you know why you're going to want to make that decision today?
No.
Because this is about your family. This isn't about you. This is about your family. And I know you love them. And I know you care about them. And I know you've been putting this off, and we're not going to. I'm not going to let you do it no more. So let's sit down and let's figure out what's right for you.
Well, actually, I think I already have some insurance. I think I already got it taken care of.
Perfect. That's typically why a lot of houses send this in, because they're not sure what they got. They're not sure if they got enough to even cover what it's going to take. You might be even overpaying for what you have. So, you know, that's one of the great free benefits that we give is I'm also an underwriter. So even if you don't, you know, get a policy today, it's okay. At least you'll have peace to know what you have, Albert.
Right. Yeah, we out of objections here. Did she knock them all down? We got any more?
Here's my check.
And you do how many of these a day typically?
I mean, I told you I got 30 mile per hour wind gusts. I went home, but
On average.
I mean, I like to take, if I'm on a road trip, who knows? Like, I'm going to make it count because I'm so far away from home. I'll try to work 12, 15 doors. But you know, you gotta understand, that's not me going to one house to one house. I'm not going to go to the same driveway 4 times until I see their car there, you know, and then I go the other part of town, go to another one, come back. So, you know, today I saw 3 families and sold 2 policies.
Yep.
Now, when you door knock, okay, so especially if you're buying CRM leads, right? And
Which is all you buy.
Right. So you're buying the mailers with the picture in it, correct?
Yeah.
When you door knock that specific house, the next door knock lead could be 15 minutes to another 30 minutes away, right?
Yeah. So there's an app out there for you guys that are wanting to do this called Road Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't cost you. You can download like 9 to 10 GPS addresses, and it'll put it in like a chronicle order, so you're not ping-ponging yourself and wasting gas by the address. You just download each address, and it'll be like, okay, it'll actually put it on the map, and it'll take you to your first stop, second stop, and so on.
And then do you also door knock the left and right? I heard some other agents, they do the T, right?
Oh yeah.
Who is
Nick
it?
Nick came on a couple weeks ago and talked about that.
You know about the T?
Hit all the neighbors, hit the neighbor across the street.
Yeah.
Oh
The left,
my
the
gosh.
right, and across.
I'm terrible. I've looked at people's mailboxes and seen their last name, and then I'll walk up and I'll be like, "Are you Mrs. Brown?" Okay, yep. You know what? Actually, you're next on my list. I just saw your neighbor Valerie over here, and I'll just start a conversation and give them and then I'll show them their lead with like Valerie's lead per se with Valerie's handwriting, and I'll be like, "Oh my goodness, we don't even have yours in the system. We need to get this done today. This time sensitive, you know." So I share a lot of these stories with Darren and have him dying some nights. I met a lady on a hill in the middle of the snow one night, and she was getting her mail, and I hadn't sold anything all day. You know how that goes. And she's getting ready to walk in her trailer, and I'm like, "Are you?" And her actually last name was Brown. I'm like, "Are you Mrs. Brown?" She's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, I said, you're the last person on the street that I haven't talked to. I said, do you have 10 or 15 minutes? I need to go over the new state regulated life insurance that's been offered to you. Oh, okay. And then, in the house.
You're a killer.
There's no trick to this. There's no trick. Just be kind to people, smile, genuinely want to help them. Like, I don't have this blazing gun. I know people, it's just not like that.
Yep.
I just talk to people like this all the time.
And this is what I'm referring to about training. You see, out of the experience that she had and how she explained how she did it and what she says, even the role play, and I guarantee you that a lot of people that have not done it, they were like, "Oh, that's how it is done." Now I can go over there in the field and do it because I didn't have any idea how to do it. I didn't even know what to say. You know what I'm saying?
And you were talking about like the addresses. I used to do, and I would tell you, like, if you're going into it before you're pretty confident yourself, like, I don't use Road Warrior anymore because I have this whole science with the ages. So if they're 72 and older, I go see them before noon because they typically have later doctor's appointments. They're not in the working field anymore, and you can catch them at home. And then between like noon and 4, I do the 65ers and up because, again, that's like when they're at home. And then after 5, it's everybody 65 and younger that's still in the working field. And then you kind of can like place these people at home at those times because of their age.
Wow, I like that. I'll try that.
Well, see, the more that you actually go out there and do the work, that you start figuring things out because you start thinking about, okay, well, I'm not getting results here. And, that's where we make the adjustments because we don't want to be out there wasting time.
Yeah, she starts noticing the patterns and
you start recognizing this is the only way that you can learn because no one can teach you.
Right.
Because you have
and I started to make a final expense playbook, and I'm going to finish it by the end of the year for and I was telling, and I'm going to give this to the agents on the 16th. And I train the same way I'm talking to y'all. I tell them the same thing. I try to tell them how to work these leads the same way I do, what works. If they want a door knock, I don't restrict them. If however they want to sell it, fine. But how we were talking about like all the extra additional training, I feel like I'm going to give them a playbook for final expense when they start. And then between the dial days, they can look at that. You know what I'm saying? And they can say, okay, well, this is generally what happens when I'm out, or maybe I should start doing it by age, or at least they have something like that. That's kind of a cheat sheet, a fast start, so they can, get into a rhythm. I think, what you guys were talking about, there's like a second part to it. When they're like, oh, I got to know everything John Hancock does. I need to know everything America does. I want to make sure it's like you want to know all the stuff. And then 2, 3, 4 weeks are in, they haven't been active. And guess what happens? They probably could have been pretty good at this, but they didn't make any money in the first month, or they didn't make what they were told they were going to make, or whatever, because they're trying to figure out their life in this. They're trying to figure out all the so-called rules. And then they're like tapping out in 4 weeks because they're like, well, you didn't train me the right way and you didn't do, and it's like, no, you should have got out of your own way for a second and go out and work 3 or 4 days a week and then just hone in on all this other stuff, maybe a half a day. But I think that is like one of the things, we were talking about yesterday, Albert, is going into 2023 when they're hired. And also what Misha said, like, this is your business, but this is a job. Like, you have to still treat this like you're going to a W-2 job, even though it's your business. I feel like you should tell them the first 18 months, you need to just expect to be in a ditch and like it. Because if you can survive the ditch in 18 months, according to what we tell you what to do, you do it like we say, the rest of your life, you've paved, a golden brick road. But if you don't do it the first 18 months, don't expect those results, including myself. I did everything the wrong way last year. Still this year. I can't wait till this year's over. I mean, not wrong on a level like, some people, but for me, I felt like I got in my way so many times because I kept trying to reinvent the wheel. And I should have just looked at all the people that have been successful, duplicated what they're doing, balanced my time. And I'd have been further in hiring, further in production, further in a lot of things. I'm not upset about it. I've learned from it. I'm going to progress from it in 2023. I'm going to take everything that I learned, everything that I failed, everything that I won. I'm going to put it into a pot. I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to turn it into a really good recipe for next year.
Yeah. And the rebuttals that you gave on those objections earlier, that was great. First of all, just wanted to comment on that.
To comment on that.
Thank you, sir.
But for those of you that are out there watching, I mean, some of you guys are still going face to face in person. Yep. Some people are doing it entirely virtual or telesales. So the thing is, it all works. So I mean, whatever excuse that you're telling yourself, like, oh, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work. Like me personally, I prefer the field. So like getting on this telesale was a little uncomfortable, but I also know it does work because we've seen enough of the results.
Right.
It's just a matter of just having enough activity. So whatever you're telling yourself, I mean, just recognize you can do it either way. And also with Trisha's approach with all the rebuttals, I don't think we can pull that off. So not some of the some of the stuff that he says. But the thing is, it's great to hear these things because while you hear the training, or when people say they want to go to training, you hear all the training. Not everything necessarily applies to you, and that's okay. Just take from it what you want, and then put your own spin on it, put your own personality into it, and continue to make the adjustments until you perfect your craft. I mean, that's you still got to do the work, no matter how much training you see.
Oh yeah, and something that Trisha also mentioned, and I agree with her 100%. Because I was having a conversation with another agent, another one of my agents yesterday. This agent was telling me that she was now working on her landing page and stuff like that, and I'm like, "What landing page are you talking about?" And then she goes, "Yeah, I mean, don't you have a website?" She asked me, and I said, "Website?" I said, "No, there's only one website, and let Family First Life take care of it. You got to go in the field and go to work." And so me personally, when I talk to my agents, and sometimes actually it happened to me last week. John was talking to somebody, I don't remember who that person was, and this girl came to my office, and then she said, "Hey, you know what, man? Is there any way you can tell me about Edna, how it works, and about this other plan? Because John said that I need to be on the phone and make appointments and go out there." And I told her, I said, "Well, and what are you doing here then? You need to go back on the field and do exactly what John said. You need to go out there. You need to make your appointments. You need to go knock on the doors. You need to, get the no's. It doesn't matter how much you know about the products, because I mean, it's like getting ready to get ready. Just go out there and go to work. Get yourself through the nose." So she was like, "Really, you're not gonna teach me?" I said, "Why? Go in the field." So that is the best way to actually learn. There's no way you can sit down and, what I told you want to learn about the programs, do it on your own time before you go to sleep.
It's a Google Drive. Read the agent guide.
That's what I told you. Just go into the Google Drive and you can open it and read the brochure and understand it. But the learning is going to be when you're in front of the client. I mean, what are you going to learn about every single plan? Like, Trisha said about this guy with John Hancock. I mean, you're going to learn the program left and right. But when are you going to land a guy for John Hancock? Yeah. So the best way is for you to actually go out there. Don't overthink it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Just buy your leads, make your phone calls, make appointments. Try to learn how to do telesales and go to work. And don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, just don't overthink it either.
Yeah. Plus, if you're on the live dials, I mean, if you're unmuted, people can hear you, and someone can chime in and be like, "Hey, actually say this," or put the client on mute. Like, let's go over this, and then we can go over whatever you need to. But you actually have to just put in the work for that.
Right.
Yeah. So just we got to be honest with ourselves in certain situations. If you're focusing on marketing your business, because as Trisha said, you're putting together your pocket protectors and whatnot, or if you're focusing on training and learning the products and everything else, there's time and place for that. But you also have to make the distinction. Is it actually that you think this part's important, or is it just avoidance behavior because you don't want to do the actual work itself?
Mm-hmm.
In which, if you're trying to find a way around it, let me just tell you from based on experience, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
You got to put in the work.
It's escapism from the real work. Yeah. So it's great to hear from her, though, because a lot of agents, right, they'll have this idea of, I made dials, I made calls, I didn't get any appointments. We just heard from a lady that doesn't book for appointments.
Right.
All she does is do 12 to 13, getting in front of people, and that's the biggest focus from the training, the dials, and all these things. Your number one focus is to get in front of a person or have a conversation with them on the phone. You need to get presentations somehow, some way, whether it's door knock, calls, live transfers. As long as you're talking to a body about life insurance, you got a shot. But if you're busy training, watching something, you don't have a shot.
And not only that, also if you spend a lot of time, I mean, talking to other people and complaining about whatever, the weather, it's not productive.
Yeah.
You know, it's not productive. You
You guys, the no's, I'm sorry, but if one thing that I would tell you is the no's are everything. And what I mean by that is the no's that you get from the clients, because if you can fill your arsenal up with all the no's, you got to be really active for that. Then what it does, it prepares you for every single rejection.
Yeah.
And if you can get comfortable, like I'm so comfortable, I can't wait for you to tell me why you don't want this today. Please start telling me why, so we can get through this, and I can come sit at your table or on your couch, and we can get to the nitty gritty, because you do want this and you're going to die. So you cannot even convince me. Okay. It's just about figuring out what is right for their life. It's not about if they need it or not, because we know they need it. We all need it. And I think that if everybody got really comfortable, and it's not easy, but the activity and rejection will make you comfortable with the no's. And then once you're comfortable with getting told no, you're going to be more comfortable convincing them of the yes. And I don't care what product that is.
Because what do you have to lose at that point?
Yeah.
You're just fighting to see if you can get a positive out of it.
Yeah, and actually it gets to the point where the no's are fun, you know, because you are like waiting to for somebody to say something so you can practice a rebuttal, you know. And then, like in my case, it gets to the point where it gets fun to count how many no's I get, you know. Because if you only count in the yeses, what's going to happen is you're going to get frustrated.
It also gives you a false sense of confidence and false sense of safety, because you think everything's supposed to be yes, and then when the no's come, then you don't know how to handle that adversity.
Right.
So stay strong.
It's like being two or three steps ahead of. You're wishing for the sale. You're frustrated that you don't have the sale, but you're overlapping and overthinking about the activity to get there. Like, why is there no money in my bank account? You haven't dialed yet. You haven't booked an appointment. You haven't door knocked yet. Why is there no money?
And another thing is that you also got to be very honest to yourself, you know, and if you see that there's no money in the account or nothing coming in, I mean, you got to be honest to yourself and see, well, how much activity am I putting in?
Right.
You know,
Real
because
activity.
because there's going to be a point where you're actually active, right? And you go through the, you know, dry spot, but it's okay. All you got to do is just continue working, you know, like,
That's right.
you know, I told one of my agents, I said, when you feel like you're going through hell right now, don't stop. You're in the middle of it. Keep going.
Go through it.
You don't want to stay there.
Yeah, you know what? There's an old homage to this, and it says if you work a full week, you might have 1 or 2 bad days, but you won't have a bad week.
Right.
Work the whole week and see what happens. And you guys probably are too young to even know what Spectrum cable is, but anyway, here
I wasn't
it went
born
from
yet.
Charter, but
Here.
stop. And so I one day I was, oh gosh, it was like World War II with Spectrum on the phone, and I had got like the manager of managers, who knows who it was, and I had spent like 2 hours, real human hours, on the phone just going back and forth about this bill, and they finally put whoever it was a lady, and she knew I was irate. And this is years ago. And when I was in the car business, this taught me something so big. And I use it all the time. I use it in the car business. And there is never a time it doesn't work. I want you guys to write it down, sink it in, whatever. When somebody's telling you no, or they're irate or whatever, or they instantly are rejected, whatever it is, immediately come back with a smile and say, you know what? I understand. And then start what you're getting ready to say with, you know what? I understand. It is amazing what that does to folks, even to me. And I am terrible when I'm mad about a bill. And that lady got on there and she said, you know what? I understand you're having a hard time today. And she just put me in such a place. And I went back to the car business and I would, when people would say, I'm not going to pay you that, or I'm not doing 700 a month or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I understand. I understand that. And there's something about the tone. There's something about bringing them in. And I use it from time to time now. And I teach about that. And don't go back and tell them what you know. Don't go tell them, don't do that. Tell them you understand. And you'll get them in a place where they'll be vulnerable. They'll be just a nugget.
Great stuff. So that was a really valuable stuff. And Trisha is actually going to, for those of you that are on live dials and you get a chance to hear from everybody else. If you want to meet people in person, make sure you guys sign up for National Convention. She will be there. We've confirmed already.
Awesome.
So what are you looking to get out of convention this year, Trisha?
Well, I didn't go last year, excuse me. And I got so much feedback, and I know that those things are life-changing. So I'm looking forward to one, fellowship with you guys, two, hearing successful people that are already successful, positive vibes, to be able to take some of their successes with me, train on those, duplicate that type of stuff when I get home. I'm looking forward to the different products that I have stayed in a box and not, got out there and tried. I'm looking forward to really hearing how it's worked in the different corners of the world, how they're training on them, how they're selling those products. I'm just really keeping a really open mind and excited, and just seeing this organization blossom. You know what I mean? And I know that we'll walk away, whoever goes, I'm ready to reboot the motherboard. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to come back with a bunch of knowledge, a bunch of motivation, just fire, and get into this deal how I should.
Awesome. Well, you'll definitely get that there. And we're looking forward to being in your company and spending some time learning from you and just spending some time hanging out. So I just want to thank Trisha for coming on and sharing some awesome training and just sharing her perspective a little bit. Thank Misha, thank John, and thanks to Yoel for engineering the show. So appreciate all you guys hopping on. And let's make sure that we handle our business. If you guys need resources, they're all around you. Get on the live dials, ask your questions, reach out to managers that, whose positions you would like to be in, and get the right information out to you guys. So we know what we need to do. Just keep it simple. Talk to as many people as you can. Use some of this stuff. Let's go be elite, guys.